What's going on, guys? Big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta. Today we're with D-Boy and we are back with another deck profile. This time we will do a Kagero deck profile. So for you guys who have seen the reveals for Kagero from the Clan Selection Box Volume 1, you all know that I am already a big fan of Dauntless Drive Dragon. And as I said in that video, I will do a deck profile on him for my BladeMaster deck. And this is the deck profile that we'll talk about these two in the same deck. Alright, first we'll go through the deck. After that, I'll come back and explain the card abilities and also what other choices you could play, and then also the combo that you could do. So this would be a fast deck profile, as fast as I can make it. If you guys have any other questions, you could always ask me and I will try to make another video or to help you out in the comment section below to reply and see if I could help you out. Alright, so why did we choose to play Soen in combination with the new Dauntless Drive Dragon? There are multiple reasons why Dauntless Drive is very good in this deck. One of the reasons that the deck still plays Waterfall, as Waterfall with, of course, the new Dauntless Drive Dragon is an amazing combination. Also getting rid of your opponent's field, going Force 1 or Force 2, depending on what you're playing against. If it's a Force clan, if it's an XL clan. Also, you could now change your strategy around, going into Soen multiple times, go to Soen, then to Dauntless Drive, then to another Dauntless Drive, then to Waterfall. There are lots of things that you can do in this deck, and it's really so good that it actually is also very fun to play. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about how the decks look like, and then we'll come back and explain what you could do to make it different, as I said. So Soen at 4, Dauntless Drive at 3, and Waterfall at 2, as this is, in my eyes, the best thing that you could do. There is also a possibility of adding an extra Dauntless Drive in this deck, and you could take out one of the great ones, which I will show you later what great one you could take out. Why you could do that? Because playing more great 3s in this deck is not a bad thing, because you could always discard them with Soen. Although on the other hand, I find the 10k shield that the great one have, of course, also very good. So again, I will show you which cards you could take out and which cards you could play. So we go with 4-3-2 right now, and with more testing, we could put the Dauntless Drive to 4. Alright, for the grade 2 lineup, of course, we play the 4 copies of Doa, as it is a BladeMaster deck. We add the Searcher grade 2 at 4 as well, and then we add the Berserk Dragon at 3. So it's a nice combination of Searchers, Retire Power, and call options. For the grade 1, we do play the 4 copies of Goran, because it is a BladeMaster deck and it's the grade 1 you search with Doa. And then we play the 4 copies of the new grade 1, which is Hishot, if I'm not mistaken. His name is pronounced. And then the 3 copies of Carbuncle and the 2 copies of Mobius. And the Carbuncle is the card that you could take out to play the extra grade 3 or any other card that you want to play, because it's not necessary to play her at 3. But I do like the card a lot, especially in combination with the BladeMaster, and also in combination with having the Dauntless Drive that you could use his ability to go with, of course, Waterfall. For the grade 0s, we start with a starter. You can play whatever one you like. If it's Conroe, if it's the original starter for BladeMaster, or if it's Ondux. I like Ondux because he has the full art. Then for the trigger lineup, we play the 8 draws. Again, the deck discards a lot, and you actually sometimes even deck out. It's up to you to play more crits if you want to, but I find the draw triggers very good because they're also very easy to discard and they just fill up your hands like crazy. So again, the crit is normally unnecessary because most of the time you will go Force 2 if you go for Dutch Plan A, which is your BladeMaster route. But you could also go to another route if you want to, which is just go Force 1. And with Force 1, the crits are better, I would say. But at the same time, you normally would not rely on drive checking a crit. You will just rely on the hitting your opponent for the last damage with waterfall if you go force 1. So I still like the 8 crit, the 8 draws, but again, you could make 7 or 6 out of it. 7 is also a very good number. The 4 crits and the 4 heals. Again, if you want to, you could add 1 more crit to the deck, take out just a draw trigger. That is pretty much up to you. If we focus more on the Dauntless Drive Dragon, then yes, adding the extra crits will make a difference. Okay, so what's your plan and what do the new cards do and what other cards you could take out to play them? The first thing, as I said, is for the grade 3 lineup, you could of course take out one grade 1 to play the other Dauntless Drive Dragon. But it's unnecessary to play any other grade 3 that you would want to add to the deck. Like the old BladeMaster is definitely not necessary to add in the deck. He's very slow, he requires you first to ride into another grade 3. And the 5k and the crits really don't make that big of a difference, because if you go for BladeMaster to start with, then you go force 2. While the old BladeMaster give you the ability to go force 1. But you definitely don't want to use this. Also, he needs to have the grade 2 and the grade 1 on the field to even summon the token. But again, with the new BladeMaster, it's easier to get. So everything about the new BladeMaster is actually better than the old BladeMaster. And because now we have also Dauntless Drive Dragon, there is no reason to play the old BladeMaster, because this is an amazing grade 3 lineup. There is another ace in this deck, which is Dragonic Waterfall. Dragonic Waterfall actually never left my BladeMaster deck, for the reasons that sometimes you play against a deck that focuses a lot on their sentinels, on their protect markers. And because you could create those amazing force 1s, because you could have units in the deck like him that could power up your Vanguard, like Carbuncle that could give you that amazing boost, it's really good to have Waterfall in the deck. But now with the new cards, you could actually have an amazing combination of turns going from the one grade 3 to the other grade 3. It's important to also explain the skill of Dauntless Drive Dragon, because Dauntless Drive has 3 abilities. If you haven't seen the clan selection videos that I've made, the 3 abilities are: the first one is at the end of the battle, your drive check reveal 2 or more normal units. One of your front row rear guards get extra 10k until the end of turn. Why is this ability so good? Because of his second ability. His second ability is once per turn, at the end of the attack, if your hand has 4 or more cards, you discard 3 cards and then you stand this unit. And the last ability is when road opponent chooses one of your Vanguards, it gets all of the abilities of this card until the end of turn. So because he attacks multiple times, and because you even sometimes could ride on the top of Dauntless Drive with your Sowen and create the token, then you'll be able to drive check 2 with the token, and you will also be able to drive check 2 times with the Sowen, which means that you have 6 drive checks in one turn, and maybe one of your drive checks will have 2 or more normal units. You can't have more in this deck, but with that, you will still be able to power up one of your rear guards. So it's something that you actually know in BladeMaster, that sometimes you drive check nothing, because you have lots of drive checks in one turn. And now with the combination with him, you even have more. The good thing about this card is also when you ride it on the top of himself, he will get that ability twice, once per turn at the end of the battle. If you have 4 more cards, discard 3 and you re-ride. And then people would say, yes, but that would mean you get 3 times the twin drive and you will have to discard 6 cards, right? And that's easy, because again, you play lots of draw triggers, but you will see your deck come thinner and thinner, which means you will get closer to decking out. What is the route that I love to play while going with this deck now, with having the ability to get to Dauntless Drive and Waterfall? Well, the best thing that you want to do is your first right target would most of the time will go to Sowen. That is if you want to go for the force 1, and for the route that you want to finish with Waterfall. So let's say that you go Force 1, and you go Waterfall, you go BladeMaster, you go Force 1, and then the next turn you will ride into the Dauntless right here, which means that you will create yet another Force 1, right? So it would be like this. And the booster that you want to put behind this is, of course, your Carbuncle. That's why you play her at 3. So this would be your field, you attack, and then you restand again, you attack. Why not? Because you have a huge Vanguard. But remember, you only do 1 damage, and you only have 4 crits in the deck. But your opponent doesn't know that. He doesn't know what trigger lineup you play. Some will assume that you play 6 on 6. Most of the time, if they are at 4 damage, they will not let the attack go through. And again, you will not lose drive check, so it's good. The next turn that you want to go, again, depend on how much cards you have in your hand, depend on how much cards you have left in your deck, and depend if you want to finish it now or not. You could go for the Waterfall, or you could go for Dauntless. But normally, let's say that you go for Waterfall, so you will go BladeMaster, Dauntless, Waterfall. This, of course, will get the extra 15k because your Vanguard restood at the start of your turn. And it doesn't even have to be in combination with him. It's just at the start of your turn, if you have this on the field, your Vanguard restands, she gets the extra 15k. If you put her on the field this turn, then it still works because now you have a restanding Vanguard. But what you do right here is, again, you get another force marker, which means that you already have a very strong Vanguard, right? So this, you'll have 3 force markers to work with. And if you went for just another in between, so you go for him first, then you could have that 3 times Vanguard attack, and then you go for Waterfall. That's even stronger. Why? Because you create yet another Force 1. Let's do Kai right here. Why not? So let's say that you don't like this, then you have 3 or 4 force markers to work with. And with that, when you attack with your Waterfall, remember, right here is your opponent could not use the Sentinel. And because Waterfall inherits the ability of him, you could Soul Blast and you could give him the extra crit and your opponent cannot guard with Sentinels. But when he restands with the ability of Dauntless and you attack again, you will give him that skill yet again, because Waterfall's ability is not once per turn, it's when he attacks. And it's at the end of the battle. Yes, he will lose the crit and the 10k, but when you attack with him again, you still get his ability yet again. And that's why it's good to go from BladeMaster to him at least. And let's say that you went this route, so you have only 3 markers to work with. She is a 20k, so 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 30, so 60, that's 73, right? If I'm not mistaken. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 73. So 73 with an extra crit, and your opponent could not use Sentinels. And remember, you've kept let's say you kept attacking your Vanguard, so your pressure is high during the whole game. So it's not like you have not done much. All right, so that's why this deck is so good. But if you already ridden into yet another one in between, so right here your turn would be just retiring your opponent's Vanguard and having that extra token. Going into this, you could attack twice with the Vanguard. Going to this, you could attack 3 times with the Vanguard. And going with this, you could attack 2 times the Vanguard, no Sentinels, extra crit. Right? So that's definitely very, very, very strong. If you want to go into a different route and use Force 2, that's also possible, definitely possible, if you go with the, let's say that you go first with Dauntless, right? So you go, your first ride would be Dauntless, and you go Force 2 right away, or your first ride could also still be Soen, you go Force 2 right away. And now right here, next turn you will ride on the top of the Soen, you ride on top of Dauntless with Soen, and right here you create your second force, right? So you create your second force, let's say we go with this because I'm just a big BladeMaster Orange Dragonic Overlord fan. And right here, you create the token by having just this on the field. You pay the Count Blast, you get his little brother right here, and now, of course, you will get the ability to summon the token, right? And right here, they will get the power but also you still get the extra attack from him. So this could attack, right? Because this is still a Vanguard. This is not a Vanguard, this is a Vanguard. So you attack with him, and then you, if you try check nothing, you can still give him power or give him power, and then this would restand at the end of the battle by discarding 3 cards, and then you could attack it again. You could also choose to attack with him first, and then attack with him. It's also a possibility, and then give all the power to this, because you get more drive checks, so more cards to discard. Alright, so as you can see, lots of things that you could do with the deck that makes the deck very, very, very strong. And again, give you options to go into different directions. What other cards that you could play into the deck? Well, of course, we have also the new Grade 2, which is this card. This card name is BladeMaster Dragon, and it has an auto ability on Vanguard that at the end of the battle, it attacked or your opponent's Vanguard was retired during this turn, then you retire this unit and you draw. So pretty much you could just attack with it and then you could retire it and you could draw. That's good, but not in BladeMaster, because BladeMaster normally have this on one side and has the token on the other side if we're talking normally BladeMaster deck. So it's unnecessary to have this card in the deck. The second ability of the card is when rolled upon, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards, retire it. If did not retire, draw a card. Again, if you go for BladeMaster as a first right target, then normally you retire everything from your opponent with BladeMaster. So again, it's kind of unnecessary to have him in the deck. And if we're talking about drawing a card and retiring something for your opponent, then I actually like him better. It's just alright, retire, draw, it's Counterblast and Assault Blast. Yes, okay, but in this deck you don't really use Counterblasts at all, not that much. So yeah, the Counterblasts are just fuel for him and the new shot, which has a similar ability. If this card is on Vanguard, you Counterblast, Soul Blast, you draw a card, and then you retire something from your opponent's back row. So again, almost the same ability. It gives you the ability to retire and draw, but usually just draw. And his ability is also on Vanguard, or actually on Vanguard. The first ability is on Vanguard. When you ride on the top of him, you will get the ability to search your top 5 cards for a grade 3. And this is amazing, because in this deck you do need the extra cards in hand, and this does make also the deck more consistent and gives you the multiple options that you could go for Force 1 or Force 2 or whatever route you want to go into. Talking about other great ones that you could add to the deck, there are a few that again work actually very well with the new BladeMaster. One of them is of course another card that is getting reprinted, which is interesting because it will be in triple R, so that's good. But this card is good because it gives the power, and the power sticks. It's not until the end of the battle, it's just until the end of turn. So this is one of the cards that you could also tag in this deck, at least one. But for that one turn that you attack twice with your Trigonic Waterfall, the extra 15k will make a difference, because it would be 2 times extra 15k for your opponent to guard with. So again, this card, you could play it in the deck. And me, myself, I will definitely tag one of him in the deck. So my grade 1 lineup will be like this. So we have, of course, the 4 copies of him, which is necessary to play if you ask me. And then we have the 4 copies of this guy. Again, I'm a big fan, and the extra draw is nice. So we have 4 on 4. And then we come to this. He is definitely good, but the moment that you will go from BladeMaster to something different, your opponents will put Vanguards on the field, and his ability will not go off anymore because of the fact that your opponent has Vanguard, right? Because it's necessary for him to go off if your opponent has no Vanguards at all. Although I like him a lot in the Protect matchup, but I think that this card will be replaced with him, because this makes a bigger difference. Also, you could put this on the field and you could use it later on whenever you want to make more space for her or for anything else. So that's why I think in my playtesting I will take him out to play this. Also, it would be a triple R, so again, beautiful to run in the deck. But even if you run 2 of him and 2 of Carbuncle, you still have one more great one that you could take out, right? So you could still take at least 1 card or 1 copy of him if you want to keep Dauntless at 3. But my advice for you, if you're playing this deck, is play a little bit with it and change it a little bit around. But for me, the deck will look a little bit different when the card really came out and when I will playtest even more. Alright, that's actually it for what I wanted to show you guys for this deck. Now, we talked about all the new cards, we talked about the other cards that you could play in the deck. Of course, you could also play some cards like the Great Researchers, stuff like that, but I think it's unnecessary to play it in this deck. Also, this deck is not that expensive actually. Maybe the Doa is a little bit expensive, but that's actually pretty much it. If this is expensive, then again, you could replace it with whatever you want. This new card is definitely a very good replacement to play with it. And to have a little bit fun with it, especially because he says if your opponent has a Vanguard, you could retire it, but if they not, then you draw. But they know if they put something on the field, they retire. So you always go that 1-for-1. But usually you want more to retire with your BladeMaster ability, and I like the fact that you could draw right away with the skill of Berserk Dragon. Alright, that's again pretty much it for this deck. There are another cards that you could put into the deck to make the deck different or to play it different way. Pretty much up to you. Do some playtesting and enjoy it. Alright guys, thank you all for watching. Thank you for tuning in on our channel. Thank you for having fun with us with this deck profile. I hope that you guys enjoy BladeMaster as much as I do. But we'll definitely see you in the next video. Alright guys, thank you all for watching. Until next time.